Welcome back to Cloud 2K, and this is the Cloud Report. So today we have a very, very special episode. As you saw from the title, the Jimmy Butler situation is absolutely insane. But before we do that, we're doing it a little bit different today. You know, I always ask on Twitter, Cloud2K, YouTube. I'm doing the Cloud Report. Drop a question below. Usually I do this at the end of the video, but one of the questions kind of pertains to today's topic, so we're going to go ahead and start with it. The first question is from Brighton Season, the editor. Shout out, are the Grizzlies contenders? I look at this Grizzlies team, and right now, I don't really know. They're the 3 seed. They did lose. They've lost 2 in a row. They were the 2 seed, but they are now the 3 seed. But still, they're technically tied, maybe about a half a game behind the Rockets right now. They are number 5 in offense, number 5 in defense, with a injury history that is insane. The other night, they won a game with 7 or 8 of their rotation players out, including Ja Morant. And it's like, they just find ways to win games. Do I think they're a full-time contender? I don't know. It might be tough considering how well they're playing. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're kind of cooling off a little bit from how hot they started. A lot of that's because of the injuries they've had. I think if this team can get back healthy, at least to the most part, I don't think this team's going to be fully healthy. I think this team could make a deep run in the playoffs. I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking them because obviously the Thunder are phenomenal. They've won, 14 in a row now. They've won 14 games in a row now. The Rockets have been really, really good. The Nuggets are obviously, not quite the Nuggets we saw from 2 to 3 years ago, but still really, really good. The Lakers are now the 5 seed. The Mavs are the 6 seed without Luka now, but they were just in the finals last year. So there's a lot of teams in this Western Conference people are looking at, and I feel like the Grizzlies, at least on my timeline, maybe people are talking about it, but at least on my timeline, I feel like the Grizzlies are getting severely overlooked. I don't think they're contenders, but I think they're like, would I be surprised if they won a championship? Yes. But like, they're a damn good team, so I don't really see why not. So I hope that kind of answers your question for you there. The next question, which again kind of pertains to today's episode, is from Levi, Tennessee. Do you think the entire Jimmy Butler situation is getting out of hand? Okay. So this is going to kind of just jump us right into what we're talking about today, which is the Jimmy Butler situation. If you don't know, there was reports that came out from Shams about a month ago that like they could be looking, to make moves to move on from Jimmy Butler. Then Jimmy Butler's agent quote tweeted it and kind of went off on Shams about like, that's not true. You're kind of making up the reports, blah, blah, blah. Like he kind of went off on Shams. And then like more things started coming out that he's just not happy. And then there was even a quote from Jimmy Butler after, I believe it was the Indiana Pacers game, I believe. And he said, what do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball, and wherever that may be. We'll find out here pretty soon. I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here off the court, but I want to be back to somewhat dominate. I want to hoop, and I want to help the team win. Right now, I'm not doing that. And they CNN here said they reached out to Butler's agent, but they have not heard back from him. So that was already like, oh boy. Oh, that's okay. That's damn near basically him asking for a trade, right? They then proceed to suspend Jimmy Butler, right? But before we get to that part, we have to remember this whole thing about the Pat Riley situation, because Pat Riley came out and said, end quote, we usually don't comment on rumors, but all this speculation has become a distraction to the team and is not fair to the players and coaches. And that was on December 26th. That was before Jimmy Butler made this previous comment. I should have said that before. I didn't time frame that very, very well. But now, and they said, therefore, we will make it clear we are not trading Jimmy Butler. But again, this is December 26th, before Jimmy Butler made these comments after the Pacers game. Well, this goes further back. Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley have a bit of a history, because if you don't remember, back in the playoffs last year, the whole Jimmy Butler thing, Pat Riley says, if you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut. Okay, Jimmy Butler really didn't seem like that, and from a lot of reports, that was kind of the turning point of this whole Jimmy Butler situation, this whole beef between him and Pat Riley all of a sudden. Now, I'm going to see if I can find more about this. So, at this point, it's almost a guarantee that Jimmy Butler is going to be traded. He basically asked out, and the Heat then suspended him for 7-ish games, I believe, for basically stuff that was detrimental to the team. Basically, the way all this circus has been hurting the team. So now pretty much they suspended him, which is, I think, just the icing on the cake, the nail in the coffin, that this is done. This time is over. And I kind of do want to talk about the Jimmy Butler era in Miami, which I think for the most part, was really damn good. I know there's a quote from like a couple weeks ago from Kenny, who did this on his podcast, talking about like ring culture, because like, a lot of people are going to look at this and say Jimmy Butler did not win a championship, so technically his Heat failure was, or his Heat stint was a failure. I disagree with that as well. I think being the best player on a team that makes it to 2 NBA finals and then another conference finals, and again, I get it, you didn't win, but you went up against the Los Angeles Lakers team in the bubble that was just the better team, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Then you go up against Jokic, who was the best player and maybe still is the best player in the world, and that Nuggets team was constructed really, really well. And then you lose to Boston in Game 7. It's like you went against these top-level teams, and Jimmy Butler put everything on the line in them series, man. You saw the picture of the 2020 finals where he was kind of like leaning over the banister or whatever that was. This dude was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal in the Heat, and it's going to end in a rough way. It's not the first time Jimmy Butler tenure has ended in a rough way, and maybe you want to look into that more. I'm not going to. I really like Jimmy Butler. I know some people have their reservations about him because of that kind of stuff. I get it, but I think on the court, when he's fully locked in, when he's fully engaged, Jimmy Butler is one of the best players in the world. That might be a crazy take, but I fully believe he's one of the best players in the world when he's locked in. It's just that sometimes he can easily kind of get unlocked, or like kind of locked. He kind of loses his focus, or there's some off the court stuff going on, and we've seen it in Minnesota, we've seen it in Philadelphia, we've now seen it in Miami. I don't know. There were some reports him and Derrick Rose didn't like each other. Do I buy into that? No, not really. We don't know. You know what I mean? That was kind of early into my basketball watching. Well, not really. I guess it was quite a while ago now, but still, you know what I mean? That was a while ago, so I'm not going to try to revisionist history, that kind of stuff from that far back. But Jimmy Butler is almost 100% going to be traded, and there's a list here of 5 different teams that Jimmy Butler could possibly end up on, or at least that's what the list is. We're going to talk about each one of these teams, and if, we really think he could end up on one of these teams, and whatever. The first one is, and I think the favorite probably to get him, is the Golden State Warriors. Listen, they traded for Dennis Schroeder, who's not been that great since he's got there. I don't know. I don't know. Right now, they're number 18th in offense, and Jimmy Butler's not. He's not the craziest offensive player. He might help that a little bit. He's definitely going to slow him down a little bit. I don't know how Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green would get along. That package probably is like a Andrew Wiggins, either Kuminga or Moody, a Buddy Hield, a pick or two, like something like that along those lines of that. The Heat or the Warriors will kind of have an upper hand, I think, in the sense of like if Jimmy Butler's like fully asking out of Miami, like Miami's like, we are trading him, they're gonna be able to give up a little bit less to get him. But again, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league, and Jimmy Butler's going to help with that defense. Defense wins championships. The year they won a championship in 2022, they were one of the best defensive teams, maybe the best. They were definitely a top team and a top defensive team, and that could be really, really good for them. The Memphis Grizzlies is another team that's like, I just talked about them earlier. They're the 3 seed, but I don't know if a lot of people are taking them seriously as contenders. Does bringing Jimmy Butler on make them serious contenders? Maybe. I think that Western Conference is going to be tough to get through OKC, man. I think OKC kind of has that conference on lock right now. Would it help? Yes, it would help defensively. You would just need him playing because a lot of their people are injured, and Jimmy Butler's been missing a lot of games recently with a couple different things going on, some illnesses, some injuries. How much of that was actual, or how much was it just like a mind game with all this extra stuff going on? We don't know for sure, obviously. The Grizzlies would be pretty... I guess Marcus Smart would be in that deal. I don't know. I feel like you would definitely give up a lot if you're Memphis, and you might not want to do that. But next, the Dallas Mavericks, a team that was just in the NBA Finals this past season. They go out and get Klay Thompson in the offseason, and he hasn't been great for them. Luka's now out for a while. Kyrie Irving's really, really been good this year. Maybe bringing in Jimmy Butler might help, kind of curb the loss of Luka for a little bit. PJ Washington's also been really, really good this season, so you might have to give up PJ Washington in that deal, which kind of sucks, but you're going to have to give up somebody good for Jimmy Butler. It's just the way it is. He's that good of a player. You have to give up something big for him. Next, the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if I agree with this one. I just don't see the world. Like, it's definitely Michael Porter Jr., and it's probably another 1 or 2 people in that as well, and they already don't have a very good bench. So they can't really be giving up multiple players for one player. You know what I mean? They're already kind of struggling. I get it. This team, they just won a championship, 2 years ago, and they're definitely not that same team right now. Maybe gives Jokic some help, because Jamal Murray has been a lot better recently, but still not his full self. Michael Porter Jr. has not been his full self. Aaron Gordon's missed a lot of time with injuries. Maybe bringing in some more full interior and perimeter defense with Jimmy Butler, and maybe a guy that can kind of take the ball on his own and kind of create his own shot might be helpful for this team. I don't fully know. I don't know. Then last is the New York Knicks. That's just not going to happen. I don't know how they get him. I mean, they just traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. They traded another 1 or 2 first-round picks and Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo for Karl Anthony Towns. They've already changed this team a lot based off of last season, and I don't think they're going to turn around and give up some of those pieces again for a Jimmy Butler. I think the Knicks are very, very happy with where they are right now. Karl Anthony Towns has been phenomenal this season. I think a lot better than a lot of people thought they were going to be, or he was going to be. The defense has been really good recently. They've been a top 10 defense as the past couple weeks, which is something that, to start the season, they were awful. They were like, 3 or 4 in offense, top 10 in defense right now. So it's like, this Knicks team has been playing so well. I think bringing in a guy like Jimmy Butler would just kind of throw this team off a little bit more than they would really like to. But to kind of go back and debunk, I said Golden State could be the favorite. Apparently now Nikola Vucevic from the Bulls seems like a likely trade target, and the Warriors seem to be kind of pushing Vucevic more than I think they would Jimmy Butler, which I think I like. I think Vucevic would be a lot easier to kind of put into this team and work around with it than bringing in the Jimmy Butler. Because the Warriors need to just do something right now because they've really fallen off in the way they started the season. So maybe there's a chance that, even thinking that Jimmy Butler could end up in Golden State is not going to happen. So maybe it is a team like Houston who is really kind of lacking their number one right now. And I think that's why a lot of people don't take them serious as contenders, is because they have a lot of good players, but they just don't have that true number one guy right now. Because Alperen Sengun I don't think he's that right now. And I think a lot of people don't agree. He's right now, at least, not that kind of guy. Jalen Green, definitely not. But maybe Jimmy Butler would come and be the number one. Maybe that would help. I don't know. I don't know how him and Dylan Brooks would get along. It comes to a point where you just got to stop worrying about how people get along, and you just got to get the best talent in the door. So I guess maybe Golden State might be out of it. I don't really know, because I mean, if you're the Heat, you have Bam Adebayo, you have Tyler Hero, you have Jaime Jaquez, you have some pieces that you're like, we don't want to just punt this season. We don't want to just give up and go into a rebuild. You kind of want to retool in a sense. You're trading Jimmy Butler, you're gonna get some type of assets for him, but it's with him doing this whole public charade thing, I think it's definitely dropped his trade value a little bit, just with kind of the way he's been having an okay season, but he's missed a lot of time. This whole thing, you're not getting nearly as much for Jimmy Butler right now as you would have a year or two ago in this situation, and I don't really know. So teams are gonna play tough. Teams are gonna look at this whole situation and be we don't know if we want what's going on with Jimmy Butler on our team right now. We're not gonna give you one of our, if you're the Warriors, we're not gonna give you Kuminga, man. We don't know what's going on with Jimmy Butler. We don't want to give you Kuminga. I know that Phoenix Suns have been rumored to be a team that he could go to. If I'm Bradley, because it's gonna be Bradley Beal in the trade with his $50 million, but he has the no trade clause. So Bradley Beal can look and be like, no, I don't want to be traded. I'm not going to Miami. You guys are trying to retool to help win a championship. I don't know. I'm not gonna help you guys out in that situation. So it's I don't know what they get back for him. I don't know. It's Bradley Beal might be the most likely, but I don't know if that's, again, it's going to take Bradley Beal saying, okay, I'll go to Miami. I'll play in the backcourt with Tyler Hero. I don't know how that's going to look either. I don't think that's a long-term solution for the Miami Heat as well. So it's they're kind of stuck right now. Jimmy Butler's one of those weird players where he's really good. We all know Jimmy Butler's a really, really good NBA player. But it's what is his value in a lot of different teams, especially with his contract and now recently with his attitude and at least with these other things going on. I don't know Jimmy Butler personally, so I can't say it. You know what I mean? I can't speak on him as a person that much because I don't know the guy. I watch basketball. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna be there's a chance it's a 3-team trade. Some people are moving assets to get around. Maybe Bradley Beal ends up somewhere else instead of Miami, but it's Miami, Phoenix. And I don't even know, maybe Brooklyn, I don't know, because they have a lot of cap space they might take on. I don't know, probably not. But you know what I'm saying? It might be a third team that takes a Bradley Beal that maybe would want him for some reason. I don't really know. It's tough. It's really, really tough. This whole situation is insane because he basically said he's open to playing anywhere other than Miami, and he thinks he can make any team a playoff contender. Which obviously which team does he make a contender? Does Jimmy Butler on Golden State make them a contender? Maybe it helps. Does someone on Houston make him a contender? Again, maybe it helps, but I'm still not looking at them as contenders this year. Just because I just don't think they're fully ready. I think they have to go through their OKC route of losing in the second round because you're just not fully ready, then coming back in a year or two and really being contenders. him and Phoenix, I don't look at them as contenders. They're bad. They're not a good team right now. I don't know, man. This whole situation's insane, and it sucks because I really do like Jimmy Butler, and over the years he's definitely gotten a reputation for kind of being, and I say this with air quotes, like a cancer in the locker room. Because again, we're not in the locker room. We don't know this. It's just what a lot of people are like saying on Twitter, because Twitter's its own cesspool right now. But it does kind of suck when a player that's really, really good starts getting known more for like what's happening off the court, or like kind of on the court, like with the way he's been playing, but like off the court with like the locker room stuff and like the stuff with Pat Riley now. I don't know. It's a weird situation down there in Miami, and I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon, because they're not going to get much back. Maybe I'm wrong, and trust me, as soon as that trade happens, I'm making a video. You can see it here. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm hoping this is a big, big year. I put it on Twitter. I'm hoping to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's a huge, huge goal. December was kind of a rough month subscriber-wise. People were watching but not subbing. So, like, if you're watching, just hit the button, man. I make multiple videos a week within 2K or me talking. And I think I'm going to kind of back off on, like, the Fortnite, the Sniper Elite, I think I'm going to back off on those other games for right now, because they're not getting as well of attraction. I think I kind of want to hone into more basketball. You might see some college football here and there, just because I do like college football. And that game's still a lot of fun. But I'm really locking in this year, and I hope you guys join me on this journey. But I will see you guys next week. Peace.